Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Gyan Timirandasya. Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam with commentary by Srila Visvanatha Cakravarti Thakur. First chapter, first canto, 13th verse. O Suta, so the sages of Naimisharanya, we heard last time, had performed their morning duties and began to worship Suta, giving him a proper seat and so forth. Now they're ready to inquire. O Suta, you should describe the Lord to us, for we are eager to hear. The Lord made his appearance for the liberation and prosperity of all beings. In other words, the Lord comes for the benefit of all of mankind. So they want to hear more about the Lord, naturally. The commentary says, what is the result of curiosity about Krishna? We feel ourselves successful by hearing about him. In other words, there's a natural joy that resonates within the heart of those who actually hear about Krishna. There's a sense of inspiration that comes from that. So they're eager to hear more about Krishna. The Lord appeared for the liberation as well as the well-being or prosperity of all living beings. Text 14 through 16. What person, desiring satisfaction of his own intelligence, will not hear the glories of the Lord, whose actions are praised by reputed persons, whose name, which fear personified fears, immediately liberates helpless persons afflicted by the terrors of material existence, and whose devotees, having taken shelter of his lotus feet, and having fixed their minds in the Lord, immediately purify others of all sins just by their thinking of them. The power of the devotee is here, that taking shelter of the lotus, whose devotees, having taken shelter of the Lord's feet, also have the power to purify others. They immediately purify others of all sins just by thinking of them, whereas the waters of the Ganga purify only by direct contact and service. Commentary. The phrase, terrifying material life, vivashaha, feeling helpless, sadhya, but immediately the result comes, indicates persons like Ajamil, a good example. Ajamil saw himself facing death, and there was a fear, immediate fear. And so he called out the name of Narayan. And even though it was not directly calling out to the Lord, there was an immediate result that came to him. The Yamadutas, who were terrifying, upon his seeing them, he actually saw them coming towards him, describes with noose in their hand, ready to pull the soul out and so forth. When he called out of fear, "Oh, Narayan, Narayan," immediately the Vishnu Dutas, the servants of the Supreme Lord, appeared, and they actually debated with the Yamadutas that he is under our care because he uttered the name of the Lord. So go away, Chalo, go away. You're not. You have no jurisdiction over this person, because this person, although you may calculate him that he is sinful, did this, did that, he was a Brahmin, he went with a prostitute, he did this, he did that. No, that doesn't matter. He chanted the name of the Lord. And even though it was just at the very end of his life, he called out Narayan in a helpless state, calling out for his son, but the Lord heard him. Narayan! The Lord heard his name being called. And so the Vishnu Dutas immediately appeared. So by the utterance of even one name of the Lord, fear at its very root, Swayam Bhoyam, means at the root of Bhoyam, at the root of fear, who is personified by the form of Mahakala, that is the great power of time, ultimately comes and devours all of us. That is the nature of death. Mahakala, the time factor, comes and gradually takes us from this world. So generally, the Vaishnava prepares himself for that moment. But even if by some good fortune one has not prepared himself, such as in the case of Ajamil, but by past association, and actually that's described, that he had the Sukriti from past association, otherwise how could he have even named his son Narayan? There was some Sukriti there that gave him the power to think the name Narayan at the end of, or chant the name Narayan at the end of his life. So this, what to speak of death and Yama in charge of death. What to speak of fear for lesser beings, such as servants of Yama. They immediately flee when they also hear the name of the Lord being chanted. The devotees who take shelter of the Lord's 2 lotus feet immediately purify people of the contamination of ignorance, even if the people just remember them. That is the power of one who is always chanting the name of the Lord, who is a genuine devotee of the Lord. They carry the Lord within their heart. We honor that as the position of Guru, but all Vaishnavas who are sincere and have been engaged in the process of devotional service for some time carry that Lord within their heart, and therefore they have the power to purify. Just like sometimes persons on the street would see Srila Prabhupada or walking in the park, and they would say good morning, and he would say good morning to them. So they got a favorable response. It wasn't even that the necessity was there to say Hare Krishna, and Prabhupada didn't say. Sometimes he just say good morning, but that contact was a purifying contact because Prabhupada naturally carries Krishna within his heart. So that is the fact with the devotees of the Lord. Here they're glorifying all those genuine devotees who sincerely worship the Lord, have such power to purify by their very presence, and even remembrance of them has the power of purifying. In contrast, they give here, in contrast to like the Ganges, which you have to go to the Ganges and dip within the water to get purified. With the pure Vaishnava, you simply have to think of them. So that's the contrasting power they're showing here. So how much more purification will take place by the opportunity of seeing or touching or serving those devotees? So if you have that opportunity, you can see, you can touch, you can serve. Touch generally means touching the feet of the Guru or the Vaishnavas, and or even sometimes in loving embrace may be there. But in any case, the power of purification is there by seeing, by touching, by serving. Even, they says, how much more is that purification? One thing is remembering, but then also getting the opportunity of seeing and touching and serving. This is understood from the statement, simply by remembering you, this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, simply by remembering you, our houses have become instantly sanctified. What then to speak of seeing you, touching you, washing your holy feet, or offering you a seat within our home? This is generally why one invites the Vaishnava to their home. They may invite for kirtan or something, but just by their presence within the home. We welcome the pure Vaishnava, seeing them, touching them, washing their feet, offering them a seat. It should be understood that the waters of the Ganga purify by their direct presence, having been brought from a distant place. That is, someone may have carried the Ganga Jal, just like we brought some when we were on our pilgrimage this year. So we brought some, and get the blessing from Ganga Devi by putting the water on your head like that. So someone may have brought, but still it had to come from that place. Otherwise, there would be a contradiction to the statement, liberation comes from seeing you. I do not know the result of taking bath. One can attain liberation by seeing the Ganga or by remembering the devotees. So there's a purification that takes place just by seeing the flowing waters of the Ganges. But one may not have the opportunity of seeing the devotee, but one can always remember the devotee. And that purification takes place. Thus, superiority of the devotee is being indicated. The water of the Ganga flowing from the Lord's feet, by having a relationship with the Lord, actually does purify, but only on being touched. Sevaya means by actions such as worship, obeisances, etc. Or it can mean by respect in general, by rendering service to the Vaishnava. How much more purifying is that? Getting the opportunity of directly offering obeisances. So the particle nu, which means certainly, indicates a difference from the previous statement. One who desires satisfaction of the intellect, shuddhi kam. That is, now that you have come forward to hear, you should understand, the sages are saying, that we have come here simply to satisfy our intellect by hearing from you. Now, not only seeing you, touching your feet, we get to hear from you. And by hearing from you, our intelligence, our intellect becomes completely satisfied. The next verse says, please tell us, therefore, who are full of faith, about the activities of the Lord, who is the support of all the avatars, who supports the forms of all avatars by his will, activities of killing the demons and bestowing the highest bliss to his devotees, which are glorified by the sages. We want to hear about the Lord, who is the source of all avatars, avatari, about his killing of the demons and bestowing good fortune upon the devotees. Karmani refers to the activities of killing demons, fulfilling the desires of the devotees. Udarani, generous in his spirit of fulfilling the desires of his devotees. We want to hear all about this. The killing of the demons, the generosity of the Lord's spirit, his loving devotion towards his devotees, the constant appearance of the avatars of the Lord during the time when Krishna appears indicates the completeness of Krishna's avatari. So Krishna is called the avatari, the source of all incarnations. And we also want to hear about his various incarnations throughout the ages. So the Bhagavatam will describe all the various incarnations and the different forms of incarnations, Leela avatars, Shaktivesha avatars, and like that, all the different categories. O intelligent sage, now narrate those non-material stories of the avatars of the Supreme Lord Krishna, who performs his eternal pastimes independently by his yoga maya potency. Commentary, Shubha means non-material. The Lord performs pastimes in the present which are actually eternal in nature through his yoga maya potency. We want to hear those stories about the Lord and his avatars, which are all non-material. We are not fully satisfied with the exploits of the Lord, whose fame is the highest, because at every moment those exploits become more relishable for the hearers who have knowledge of Ras. And so, the sages say, we are begging you who are desirous to hear, we are desirous to hear more. We can't say we're satisfied because we find that there's an eagerness to taste more and more of the Ras, the spiritual nature and love of the Supreme. We want to taste that. Here, Uttama Shloka means he whose fame or good qualities are topmost. It can also mean he who is praised by those who are the topmost of persons. We're not completely satisfied in hearing about the exploits of Krishna, Uttama Shloka. We do not consider that it is sufficient. In other words, we're completely satisfied with whatever we have done in the form of sacrifices and yoga. That is, we're done with that now. But we will never be done with hearing about the Lord. We can complete our duties within the material sphere, that I've done my jagnas, we've gone through the samskaras and so forth of Hindu life. That may be all done, but what is never done for the devotee is the eagerness to hear more about the Lord and chant his glories. We want to taste that rasa. We can never give up that taste and think it is complete. We want to taste it more and more. Let us continue to hear about the activities of the Lord. Or the sentence can also mean, let others be satisfied with what they are doing, but we are not. We're eager to hear more and more. The meaning is this: in 3 ways one knows that one has had enough of something and is satisfied. By sufficient quantity, just as, oh, we are full, I've eaten enough. We know. By lack of awareness of the taste and by the lack of relishing the object. But there are other reasons. Because you do not know the taste, you cannot even be eager for it. So the Bhagavat immediately opens up the taste, and we become more and more eager for it. Just like Prabhupada once said about this, the gulab jamun. Wherever you bite in, it is sweet. So like that. Krishna's sweetness is there. The Bhagavatam is like that. We just have to bite into it a little bit, and we become eager to eat the rest. We want more and more. So in this verse, there is insufficient for the hearers because the exploits are not directly present, being present only as sound in the ether, contracting the ear. Satisfaction is negated for a person who is not capable of appreciating. If you have no appreciation for the taste, then you can stand outside the temple walls and come back in for prasad. You may have a taste for the prasad, but you don't have the taste for the Bhagavatam yet. We've seen that. Of course, that may also refer to the speaker of the Bhagavatam may not be expressing it with relish either. So that's another situation. That's another circumstance. But in any case, the idea is that there's no relish there. This is meant for those who are relishing the rasa and who have tasted even a little bit of that rasa. Taking a little bite from that gulab jamun, one is eager for more and more, like that. So satisfaction is negated for a person who is not capable of appreciating the taste of ras. Such persons can be compared to animals because they may not have a taste for delicious foodstuffs. So like an animal like that, those who are of lower consciousness cannot get a taste of the higher refined aspects of the Bhagavat. However, the sages have appreciated the rasa gyanam. But still they are not satisfied. We have tasted it, but we are eager for more. Unlike chewed sugar cane, which loses its taste and becomes detestable. One may be chewing sugar cane, but then it loses its taste. Material activities are like that, or like you're chewing some gum, then it becomes tasteless and you spit it out. Bhagavat is not like that. It is so tasty that it opens up the senses, spiritual senses, to a desire for more and more. We want to taste this ras. Please, they're begging now, Suta Goswami, please feed us the nectar of Krishna's topics, along with everything related to Krishna, his avatars and so forth. The topics of the Lord are most excellent, because of the increase in taste at every moment. Pade pade, at every moment, step after step, moment after moment. The sages have not lost their taste, therefore they are qualified to hear more. But they remain dissatisfied because they are eager. So that is a good quality. That dissatisfaction means we are eager. We're not satisfied. We want to hear more and more. So the locative termination, pade pade, means at every moment, keep feeding us the nectar of the Bhagavatam. And so here the sages of Naimisharanya plead with Suta Goswami that you please feed us the nectar of the Bhagavatam. So we'll complete here with text 19. Pick up next time with text 20. Jai Gaur Premanandi Haribol Jai Shri Radhe Sham.